Welcome, Lauren Kime here, checking in from our secret quarantine bunker in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. If you haven't followed me in the past, I'm with the Goodman Center for Real Estate at Lehigh University, and I'm the president of Century 21 Kime Realtors with about 100 agents, brokers, appraisers, and team members serving all of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I want to thank you for joining me today, and we're going to discuss what's happening in the Lehigh Valley marketplace, why prices are rising so quickly, and whether sales are really up or if they're down. And of course, everyone wants to know if they should be buying a home right now or if they should be selling a home right now, or whether we're going into a bubble or whether prices are going to fall in 2021. So I'm going to try and answer those questions today.
This is an article sent to me today predicting a crash far worse than the 2008 crash, which incidentally was the worst real estate crash since the Great Depression. So are they saying this pandemic is going to lead to some stunning crash? Is this reality? Or is it a way to get more eyeballs on their news site? It's nearly every year that I see articles predicting doom and gloom and the end of any real estate market. But I'm going to circle back to that question at the end of today. Today, I want to thank the Lehigh Valley Association of Realtors for providing a lot of this data and so much of the information that we're going to take a quick step through today. First, we're going to take a look at the most recent snapshot put together by the Lehigh Valley Association of Realtors in the beginning of December of 2020 that covers that period through the end of November of 2020. The numbers in the latest report look amazing and might concern some of you that a bubble is being created. After all, a nearly 20% change in the median price, an increase of 12.4% in closed sales, looks really great if you happen to be a home seller. But these figures may just be a little bit misleading because they don't tell the entire story. These numbers are only for the month of November 2020, and they are strong, but let's take a look at the year as a whole. See, November is historically not a very strong month. Homes go under agreement in the spring and early fall, and the time frame of November through February tends to slow down a little bit in the real estate cycles. You can see that in these bottom numbers every year, year after year. But that didn't happen this year. Sales jumped 12.4% in the month of November. But if you look at the year-to-date figures up here, we're actually down nearly 9% from last year. If you look at the charts, you'll also notice that sales have fallen month over month over the last 60 days. Again, that's not unusual for this time of year, but let me explain it. We went through a couple of months during the typical peak of the market where you see this low number here when we were quarantined and not allowed to show homes. That led to a reduction in the number of home sales during the first half of the year. And that's where that terrible sales number comes from down at the bottom. So that pent-up demand early in the year skyrocketed sales, and that's what that huge number here is, as soon as the market reopened and has stretched that sales time frame into the late fall. In addition to that, the lack of homes in the market, the short inventory we're experiencing, is leading to buyers taking longer to find that perfect home. And finally, the interest rates being historically low has led to buyers realizing they'd better buy a home now and lock in those incredible rates that they may not see for again any time in their lifetimes. And one other thing I'd like you to notice is as you read articles all over the internet claiming the real estate market has never been like this, let's go back to the beginning of this chart, which starts in January of 2005. And you'll notice in the spring of 2005 and the spring of 2006, sales numbers that are actually higher than this year. So while we've recovered from those terrible years from 2009 through 2012, we're still not hitting those peak months that we did 15 years ago. So while November was very strong, you're actually seeing that sales are down for 2020 over 2019. And again, part of the reason sales are down is also a significant reduction in the number of listings put into the marketplace. And there are a few reasons for this. While buyers came out of the woodwork as soon as the first quarantine ended, many sellers held off because they didn't want anyone who potentially had COVID coming near their homes. Many people pushed off selling until next year, and some additional potential home sellers held off because they couldn't find the right house to buy. We also have had a much smaller percentage of new construction homes in the marketplace than we did during the last boom. And finally, the moratoriums on foreclosure have prevented many distressed assets from coming into the marketplace, which does mean we're likely to see a supply of foreclosed homes coming back in 2021. All this adds up to 14% fewer homes being put on the market this year. If we combine the lack of inventory with a strong buyer activity, that creates an increase in prices. It's supply and demand, low supply and high demand. And that leads us to a literal shortage of homes in the marketplace. Even at the peak of the last boom market in 2005 and 2006, you're going to see 2,000 to 3,000 homes for sale. At this point, as of this report, there are only 802 homes for sale in the Lehigh Valley market. We're seeing similar numbers in the Pocono marketplace and in the Bucks Montgomery marketplaces. By the way, this does not mean that if you're grossly overpriced on your home, that it'll sell in 15 days. There are still some homes stagnating on the market. A portion of those homes are in the luxury property price ranges where there are far fewer buyers. Some homes have significant challenges, and some are simply priced above the marketplace. And this is the chart that really scares the media. Prices are out of control. They're rising rapidly and we're going to crash. You can see it right here. Well, not necessarily. As you can see in the chart, prices stagnated for a really long time, over a decade, in fact, and we're just starting to catch up. If we looked at a broader historical chart, you'd see home prices rising year after year for decades, with some blips in the wrong direction during recessions. And despite the quite high appreciation in 2020, if you compare the 6 years running up to the housing crash in 2006 to 2008 and what we've seen over the past 6 years, there hasn't been the same type of increases in prices up until 2020. If we start with the median price at the bottom of the market in 2008 at 195,000, and had we expected housing prices to rise only 3% a year from 2008 through 2020, the median price would actually be over $278,000. Even if we rose prices or if prices increased at only 2% a year, not a very big number. The median price right now would be $247,307, but our median today is only $227,500, 20,000 less than that, despite that giant jump over the past 12 months. And if we look at the affordability of homes to the average family, we're still actually quite strong. That's right here. What this means is that the median household income in the Lehigh Valley is 152% of what's necessary to qualify for the median priced home under prevailing interest rates. A higher number means higher affordability. And lender mediated activity, which are primarily foreclosures, are non-existent this year. There have been 22 sales in the entire Lehigh Valley region, and many of those were early in the year before the shutdown. And there are only a total of 4, I'm not kidding, 4 foreclosures for sale or lender mediated activity deals for sale in the marketplace. I don't think I've ever seen 4 foreclosures in a major marketplace in the 30 years I've been doing this. Now, I have heard people say 2021 will be a big real estate crash because everyone's going to lose their jobs, no one's going to be able to pay their mortgages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One news article even goes so far as to predict a real estate crash based on rising sea levels from global warming. Actually, if parts of our coastline did disappear, that would mean fewer homes available for the population, meaning less inventory, and prices would actually rise. Another article predicts homes selling at 50 cents on a dollar in only a few months from now. Just hold on, and prices are going to drop by half. First of all, it takes years for crashes to reduce prices above a 10% level. There was no 1 year drop during the Great Recession that saw numbers like that. And there has never been a time in our history that median prices have dropped by half, with the exception of a couple of certain product types like condos in certain areas where they were overbuilt, or a toxic waste situation that happened in upstate New York in the late 1970s. It doesn't happen. But setting all that aside, I don't see a crash on the horizon. I believe interest rates will stay low for at least the next 2 quarters, leading to significant demand to buy. While there are many businesses in jeopardy, the vast majority will survive and recover. So my prediction at this point is that the increases in price will slow coming into spring of 2021, but we'll still see positive movement in the market from pent-up demand and fueled by low interest rates. There will be more inventory in the market in 2021 as the vaccine's distributed and people are feeling more comfortable. And as foreclosures once again come into the marketplace, which will slow the growth of sales prices. I also predict a strong construction market for 2021. It's nearly every year I see articles predicting gloom and doom and the end of the real estate market. And there will be another housing recession, count on it. Although we're unlikely to see another 2008 in our lifetimes. But at this point, I don't see it on the horizon. Now, the commercial real estate market's a little different story. There are shifts going on in the multifamily housing markets, and there are many retailers and many office uses that are truly struggling. But I currently predict a strong 2021 for the housing sector. And if you're searching for a home in Eastern Pennsylvania or New Jersey, I invite you to check out zaphomesearch.com, a more comprehensive search than Zillow and updated directly from the multiple listing systems every 2 minutes. And as always, if there's ever a way I can assist you, please contact me. My email is c21keim@gmail.com. Thanks again and have a great holiday season.